does Roche count as something then fleshed out that I could do without?
Okay, here we go. Let's break
Are we going
open
there?
the seal. Benjamin Reeves wrote in, as informed as ever. He says, "Hi, Kyle, Jeff, Suriel, and that other guy. I'm a big fan of the original game. A few friends and I actually did a game club for the original a few years back, which is kind of like a deepest dive. I think you'd like it. Anyway, overall,
like it.
I'm really liking this remake. However, does anyone else really hate Roche? The crazy soldier on the bike. To me, he seems like an early contender for Dork of the Year, and every time he comes on screen, I groan. An insane dude who's really good at everything, speaks in mediators, and is immediately obsessed with the main character. I'm pretty sure I've seen this archetype in Japanese media before. So what's the deal? Who likes this kind of character? He's not funny, and he looks like a doofus. The way he's able to break the laws of physics and he whips his bike around in odd angles is completely ridiculous and really bothers me too. Anyways, I really hope he doesn't become a big part of the story going forward, but can anybody defend this guy? What am I missing?" Thank you for writing in, Ben Reeves.
Yeah. When I first saw that guy, I thought this has to be a character from the original because he's so stupid.
Don't pin that on us. We're not associated with him.
That must be what some designer thought was cool back in the 90s. and then when I learned that this is a new character, it blew my mind. It was like, this, in 2020, a designer thinks that this guy is cool. and the thing about the physics is right on that it's like a kid playing with a little motorcycle toy and flipping it around and thinking that looks cool. It just, every time he came on, I could not believe what I was seeing.
My first thought was that he felt like he was pulled out of a contemporary Final Fantasy game, and he does not fit the narrative of not my Final Fantasy VII, not my world, man.
I realized he is Chris Pratt combined with Woody Woodpecker. Like, that's the character they're going for with this guy. But at the same time, controversial opinion, I like him. I like seeing him on screen.
I get.
Unsubscribe, man.
I'm gonna do you one better, man.
Yeah.
I love Roche.
Yeah! Roche boys! Hell yeah!
I loved Roche. I thought he was so absurd and silly and over the top. You know who I thought of? I thought of in Legend of Zelda, the one that no one played except Ben Hansen, Skyward Sword. Yeah. Groose.
Oh,
that's right.
Okay.
Groose is loose in the hoosh. He's pretty much.
I'm having some issues with Patreon. Where do I unsubscribe?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to
can I get my money back from previous months?
I'm trying to unsubscribe from Ronnie's Discord call for saying Roos is loose in the hoos.
So, anyways,
here's Ronnie. Here's why I like him. I like him because somebody brought up, gosh, I'm forgetting. There's a lot of notes here, but somebody brought up that they love that the game isn't. Yes, Eric Seal brought up that he loves that the game isn't too serious, that it has a level of self-awareness, and I feel like that is Final Fantasy VII. I think is a silly game in a lot of spots, and I know he's over the top and the physics are all over the place, but I feel like he brings back some of that feeling of just like wacky absurdity that is in that core game in moments. And even though he's extreme and kind of jarring, I think he's fun. I like his performance. I think the actor does a great job.
I agree with all of that, actually. I think when I saw the trailer that he was in, I hated it. I thought that was the moment where I thought like, this is more like Kingdom Hearts than I think it's going to be.
Yeah.
And then once he came on screen, and it was just like, he's a soldier. He's had the same training as Cloud has. And there's this like kind of like weird camaraderie where he just kind of feels bored and he has an opportunity to do something that he probably did in the war, which is actually fight somebody that's competent. And he just revels in that. I love that so much. Yes. And I know he's over the top, but like, I think there's room for that in this rendition.
I completely agree. He's impossible to criticize. And I like too that like the first time you see him when he's just like leaning back against the wall as the motorcycle goes by, the motorcycle goes by and like it is a second before he's like, ooh, mwah. Like he's just like into it immediately, like, you know, basically Pepe Le Pew or something, but I'm so on board. But yeah, and just like the stuff he says where he's like, until one of our flames is extinguished, our dance will never end. And I love like before that boss fight, how he heals you fully. And he's like, here's to a fair fight, my friend. Like, I think that's so fun.
Yeah, I was going to say the one nice thing that I can say about him is I do like that he is so in on that rivalry between you to the point where he will knock out the other enemies that are in that arena just to save you. And then he says something like, try and stay alive so that we can fight each other in the future, basically.
Yes, I love that.
Yes, I think I understand probably, well, I mean, here it splits down. Daniel Willett Pine liked him, and he liked that he makes motorcycle fights or motorcycle sounds like he yells "vroom." Christian King says, I could not stand him. Patrick Henderson said, did Roche take the title for the sweetest mullet in the Final Fantasy series? So it's all over the place. But I do love the idea of like just having some other personality early on. Even though they move Sephiroth up, it's like if they stuck with the bad people are all just Shinra, like they have some personality. Some of them are fat, but there's nobody that really pops as like a villain in this section. And so I like the idea of just packing as much personality as possible into this one jackass.
They sure did. they packed that jackass well.
MinnMax is a Patreon about games, friends, and getting better. The Deepest Dive is the best, most thorough discussions about games on the internet. Prove us wrong, please. The MinnMax Show podcast airs every Thursday. Patreon supporters vote on what we stream every single week, and a whole lot more. Give us a shot, try subscribing to the YouTube channel, and we hope we can win you over.